Imagine being the son of Motown's most powerful man and still needing to prove you deserve a place in music. That's the story of Kennedy Gordy, better known as Rockwell. In 1983, after a fallout with his father, Motown founder Berry Gordy, Kennedy left home determined to make it on his own. With help from Ray Singleton, his dad's ex-wife and Motown producer, he sneaked into the studios at night to record demos, one of which would change his life. He said he prayed for a song that would go to the top of the charts and tickle the taste buds of the music connoisseur. 2 days later, Somebody's Watching Me came to him. The lyrics came from real moments, childhood memories of a neighbor spying from a window, and even a prank on his girlfriend that inspired the line, "When I'm in the shower, I'm afraid to wash my hair." The sound, it has been rumored that the track used a Roland Jupiter 8, Jupiter 4, maybe a Micromoog, an Oberheim DX for the drums, with possibly a Lean LM drum for the snare, and a Roland Vocoder to add the robotic edge. In my research I found some of these instruments, but they are not confirmed, so if you know the real gear, drop it in the comments below. Rockwell took the demo to his friend Michael Jackson, who was at the moment the biggest star on the planet. After performing the song in a fake British accent, Rockwell asked Michael to sing it. Michael agreed, recording that unforgettable chorus, "I always feel like somebody's watching me." His brother Jermaine reportedly joined on the background vocals too, though neither asked for credit. Out of respect, they let Rockwell have the spotlight. When the single dropped in January 1984, it hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, right behind Van Halen's Jump, and turned Rockwell into an overnight star. The eerie music video, directed by Francis Delia, blended psycho, Halloween, and zombie movies into an MTV nightmare. Rockwell later said his serious concept was scrapped for budget reasons, but the weirdness made it iconic. Even Kool and the Gang's Misled borrowed its spooky vibe. Miami Vice used it in the pilot, and decades later, Geico revived it with those googly-eyed dollar stacks. Rockwell might be called a one-hit wonder, made by the son of music royalty. But Somebody's Watching Me, 40 years later, still feels like he's watching us back. Welcome to another episode of Nostalgic Explorer, and today we are kind of celebrating Halloween, or I was thinking about it, that is approaching, so I was like, why not making a series of videos that are related to that? And I think this song by Rockwell is a great song to explore. I remember when I listened to the song the first time, I mean, I never find it actually creepy. I didn't even know the meaning of the song, to be honest. Until later, really. I never seen the video clip before. I remember just listening to the song in the radio. And actually something that happened to me over the years, and I remember arguing this with friends, and actually now with my son, he was claiming that this song was by Michael Jackson. I was like, yeah, the Michael Jackson song. I was like, no, that's not Michael Jackson. That is related to Michael Jackson, but it's not Michael Jackson. And years passed, and I never knew that actually Michael Jackson collaborated in this track. But I mean, it's so obvious because by the end of the song, you hear the typical Michael Jackson, which I never imagined, to be honest, that song featured Michael Jackson. But anyways, that's me. I discovered it 40-something years after, but it's never too late, right? So anyways, did you know that Michael Jackson collaborated on this? Let me know in the comments of this video. And for this, actually, I'm gonna be using the Oberheim DX. I'm gonna be using the Juno-60, and I could be using the Moog because I have the Moog source. Probably you've seen it in other videos. But now there's something happening with it that is jumping sometimes from one octave and then like goes to another different tonality. So I don't want to risk it, and I'm gonna be using the Juno-60. Also, I'm going to be using a not so old synth, not that vintage, which is the Korg Minilogue that I use, as you can see, as a controller for the Matrix 6R. But there's some sounds that actually are good for this track. So I think this is a good example of like, with the resources that you have, you can solve if you're making recreations or like making it sound 80s. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so for the bass, I always like to use my bank number 17 in the Juno-60 because that's where I have my bass set up. So I can just tweak here and there. And what I did is add some chorus. I messed up with the envelope. And I think I did a lot of things here. I don't really remember because I started just tweaking and I didn't record it. So apologies in advance. But I remember adding the sub. And this was originally recorded in a Moog, but I'm using the Juno-60. So what I'm trying to do is trying to emulate that sound of the Moog. You can see the LFO, the delay time, is right in the middle in number 5. The power of the DCO and the LFO here is almost number 3. And I can show you the frequency too, you can hear here. This is quite too bright. It sounds more Devo than... Needs that kind of like bubble sound that I like. The resolution here is not quite in 0, it's almost 1. Envelope is in 4. LFO and keyboard. LFO is a little bit more than 5, and the keyboard is in 4. And I think we can record. And then there's slight variations, but that's the main bass. Okay, so then we have the drums, and for this I'm using the DX, and I'm going to be recording all the patterns. They are very simple, quite effective. Again, like the 80s was always sometimes simple drums, but they work so well, with the exception of Prince, of course. And I think that's it. Okay, so then we have these little arrangements. I'm using the patch number 31, and I adjust a little bit here. And we have something that are little arrangements here. This is in the verse, and then we have the chorus. And that's it. And then we have this choir that makes it more scary and more spooky, which I actually like this. And I'm using for the first time actually in this series of Nostalgic Explorer, the Korg Minilogue. And so let's record it. And that's pretty much it. I think it works really well with this. Preset number 18. thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this recreation by Rockwell. It was so much fun actually exploring this track. That was one of your suggestions, so thank you for that. And I'm gonna be making a few tracks that are Halloween-esque. If you are seeing this in the future and it's not Halloween, this was released around that date, so but you can watch at any time, obviously. Thank you so much again, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this content. Your support helps me a lot, and I've seen that a lot of you watch this content but you're not subscribed. It will really help me to keep growing this community of amazing people. Thank you so much for your comments. I always like to sit down and read all your stories behind the track, like when is the first time that you listen to the song, and sometimes some corrections. Why not? Because I'm learning about these tracks, so I don't know everything about it. So sometimes you're like, hey, like you're missing this sound, you're missing this other stuff. So thank you so much for that feedback as well. And let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about this song, and see you in another nostalgic exploration.